My privilege to introduce the Acting Director of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency and one of the VFW's newest life members, a retired Army Colonel, Fern Sumpter Winbush. The Colonel hails from Boston and began her military career as a private first class in the Army Reserves back in 1983, then in the Massachusetts Army National Guard. She graduated in 1989 with honors from the University of Massachusetts and nearby Suffolk University's ROTC program. As a commissioned officer, she would serve in Germany, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Korea, Netherlands, and Afghanistan. Prior to her military retirement in January of 2015, she was commander, Joint Base Meyer-Henderson Hall in Arlington, Virginia. Last October, she was selected to serve as the Principal Director for the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, but is now dual-hatted as the agency's Director, too. As the Principal Director, Ms. Winbush is a senior civilian responsible for leading the Washington, D.C. office in formulating policy, overseeing business development, and increasing outreach initiatives to achieve the agency's goal of providing families and the nation with the fullest possible accounting of missing personnel from past conflicts. As the acting director, she now leads the entire agency, which was created from merging three of the largest organizations that used to comprise the government's full accounting community. Her job is the same as her predecessor organizations: to recover, identify, and return as many missing Americans as possible back home to their families, a mission which the VFW wholeheartedly supports. Comrades, please welcome the Acting Director of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency and a VFW Life member, Comrade Winbush. Colonel.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Good morning. I'd like to thank Commander Bajetsky for inviting me here today to talk a little bit about the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency's mission, our accomplishments, and just a little bit about our ongoing and planned initiatives. I'm so honored to be here today, as the Chief said, as one of VFW's newest life members. And Chief, I must sincerely apologize to the entire VFW comrade that it took me so long to join. The VFW's stalwart commitment to serving veterans is admirable. You have been at the forefront championing retirement services legislation while serving us directly by helping retiring service members navigate through the confusing and often frustrating retirement process. I am a beneficiary of that program. So to Commander Bajetsky and the entire VFW, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for what you do on behalf of veterans every single day. Since my arrival at DPAA last October, I have acquired a distinct appreciation for what our agency is charged with doing, specifically recovering, identifying, and accounting for our service members who continue to go missing or unaccounted for. I have also met family members and heard their stories and witnessed their pain. I have visited the jungles of Southeast Asia to see our operations up close. And I have met with veterans groups, family groups, and military service organizations. And I'm just going to pause here for a minute. Can you advance the slide, please? Okay, and then one more. There we go. Thank you. Let me just say that I know firsthand that our nation, our leaders, and every single member of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency is fully committed to providing the fullest possible accounting for our missing and unaccounted for. Next slide. In March 2014, the Secretary of Defense, Chuck Hagel, directed the consolidation of all accounting activities into a single civilian-led agency to account for servicemen and designated civilians missing and accounted for from past conflicts as far back as World War II. In January of 2015, he activated the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, or DPAA. And you can rest assured that the DPAA team is dedicated, determined, and passionate about what we do every single day. Our investigation and recovery teams span the globe, searching for answers for families. As I speak to you today, recovery and investigative teams are deployed to France, Germany, Ukraine, Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Tarawa. With nearly 83,000 Americans still unaccounted for, it sometimes feels like a very daunting task. With a large portion of our losses located in difficult terrain in Asia Pacific, and with over 50,000 lost at sea or otherwise presumed unrecoverable, what keeps us going, honestly, are the families who wait. And as many of you know, time is not on their side. In the past year, we have made some remarkable progress in DPAA, and 2016 will be the record year for us for identifications. We continue to refine and improve our processes for how we research, investigate, recover, and identify our missing and unaccounted for. And we are developing new technological solutions to improve our ability to provide information and to communicate to families. I am confident that we now have the right processes and procedures in place, as well as support from the most senior levels of the Department of Defense to continue our irreversible positive momentum. Next slide, please. Of course, none of these accomplishments could be realized without a workforce of talented and extremely dedicated professionals working together for the same purpose. The DPAA team consists of over 600 personnel, both military and civilian, from a variety of backgrounds and specialties. And as you can see from the list on the slide, we are a highly professional force. In fact, many of the personnel have degrees I can't even pronounce. We have offices located in Washington, D.C., Dayton, Ohio, Omaha, Nebraska, Honolulu, Hawaii, Germany, Russia, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. Next slide. As part of the commitment to our families, DPAA conducts family member updates in cities across the country throughout the year. Most recently, we were in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Atlanta, Seattle, Austin, and Boston, briefing nearly 1,000 family members on their loved ones' cases. Our next update will be held in Green Bay, Wisconsin in September. In February of this year, we completed productive trips to Russia, Germany, France, and the Netherlands to cover a host of issues strategically important to our mission in Europe, and to further set the conditions for a successful U.S.-Russia Joint Commission plenum on POW-MIA issues, which was held in May. During this first plenary session in more than 10 years, the U.S.-Russia Joint Commission was re-energized, making progress with a unanimous agreement by both nations to expand archival research opportunities and a reaffirmation to work jointly to resolve cases of Russian and U.S. service members still listed as missing or unaccounted for. Next slide. DPAA continues to make progress building on the strong foundation established in early 2015. Over the last 18 months, we have developed strategic plans and started working toward achieving our strategic vision. The DPAA operations plans for both 2017 and 18 were developed to meet our priorities for the next 2 years. This deliberate 2-year horizon has brought our plans into alignment with DoD's resourcing cycle and has enabled us to synchronize our requirements with other supporting DoD organizations as well. There is still much to be accomplished, and I am confident that I have the right team of professionals in place and support needed from outstanding organizations such as the VFW to get the job done. Next slide. One exciting initiative I would like to talk about briefly is strategic partnerships. Our ambitious partnering plan, which has already begun to bear fruit, is focused on entering into public-private, intergovernmental, and interagency partnerships. Our efforts up until now were focused predominantly on recovery operations. However, we have begun to expand relationships to include non-governmental organizations and volunteers worldwide for data archiving and file digitization. We are working with universities, promoting the unique, highly technical and scientific aspects of our mission to attract graduate students needing practical field experience. Several U.S. and foreign historical groups, museums, and even family members are very familiar with many of our cases, and we must do a better job tapping into that knowledge base as well. A recent and very public example of partnership that many of you may be familiar with is the effort underway to recover U.S. Marines from Tarawa. Thanks to our colleagues at History Flight, over 40 remains have been recovered and returned to the U.S. for identification, to include Medal of Honor recipient, First Lieutenant Alexander Bonnyman. Next slide. In DPAA, we have several core analytic investigative methods we use in order to make an identification. Methodical research and analysis goes into every case. We gather information from multiple sources around the world, including archival information from foreign governments, DoD, and other U.S. government records, eyewitness interviews, and information from families before we launch an excavation or recovery mission. Upon successful excavation of a site, even when we are pretty sure that we have recovered remains, DNA is what gives us the ironclad evidence that we have found who we were searching for. Partnering with us in the DNA analysis work is the Armed Forces DNA Laboratory, or AFDL, a forensic laboratory specializing in DNA testing run by the United States Armed Forces, located at Dover Air Force Base. Scientists at AFDL, and I'm so proud to acknowledge this for them, is that they have developed an exciting new DNA technique called Next Generation DNA Sequencing, or NGS. NGS has been successfully used to identify disinterred unknown service members from the Korean War, whose remains were chemically treated in the 1950s, rendering traditional sequencing methods ineffective. Next slide. In closing, this has been a phenomenal convention, and I would like to thank you, the VFW, for being such strong advocates for our mission. Your commitment as the sole veteran service organization to return to Southeast Asia every year since 1991, to Russia since 2004, except for the past 2 years, and now to China since 2008. Your ability to engage in POW-related dialogue with nations around the world is admired and greatly appreciated. You often go where others can't, and I personally thank you for all of your hard work. We look forward to continuing our collective efforts, working together to fulfill our nation's promise. Thank you on behalf of the men and women of DPAA for continuing to remember the sacrifice made by so many who have gone before us. If you have an opportunity, please take the time to visit our DPAA display booth in the exhibition hall, booth number 322. You can also visit our website, www.dpaa.mil. And also, like most great organizations, you can like us on Facebook. May God bless you, the VFW, and our nation. Thank you so much.